what's going on, everybody? It's Andy here from Bliss Brick Studios, back with another video, and today I am going to be doing a review of Mirko Soppelsa's K project from Starbricks.net. So this has been a project that has been probably a year in the making. If you're not familiar with Starbricks.net, I strongly encourage that you go check out their website. Mirko is based in Italy, as I understand, and he does an incredible job with custom Star Wars MOC builds that he sells instructions to, and then you can get the pieces and put them together. And of course, today I'm going to be taking a look at this K-2SO. I mean, look at this thing. It's just enormous. Build from my favorite Star Wars films, Rogue One. So I was so excited when this was announced. So to get this, you go on the website, starbricks.net, and you purchase instructions. Now, of course, we're accustomed to instructions coming through PDF download, but I have to say, this manual that comes via DHL, it shows up in like a couple of days, incredibly fast, overseas shipping, really well taken care of, high quality paper, and just an I mean, the manual in and of itself is kind of a collector's item in my opinion, and it will, in my ultimate display, wherever this lands in my collection, I'll probably be putting this in an easel next to the display because I enjoy the manual so much. So where do we start with this thing? So this is the K project build. So Mirko has released several past builds on his website. I believe in order they were the U-Wing and then the TS project, which I actually have here. This is the manual for that one if you guys want to take a look at that. I'm currently in the process of collecting the parts for this Kylo Ren ship, and I'm really looking forward to that. And then there is also I think I said the U-Wing, right? And then this one, and then the K-2SO build, and then there's also a new B-Wing bomber from the beginning of Last Jedi, where Paige dies in that battle as she's dropping the bombs. And I actually have the manual for that as well, and I'm really excited to get that built. And then he's also announced the next project. The way these typically happen is he announces the project once a year, give or take, and then the manuals come out like a year later because it takes him, like, after he's designed the entire model, it takes him a whole nother year to create these manuals. So here's a couple of them. This is SB00401, so I think this was the second build, and then 401 is the K project, so I think this is his fourth MOC, and it's just remarkable. I can't wait to add this one to my collection and to my studio here, and of course I'll be reviewing that for you guys when I get it all built. So one of my favorite parts here is you can see that actually the Lego sets here on the back, you can see the BB-8 and the R2-D2 are here, and this K-2SO set is built to scale, which is really cool. Now, I don't own these two sets here. I've always wanted the BB-8. I found it once for $50 and I didn't buy it. And now I have this thing in my head that I don't want to pay more than that for that set. But I think those would be really cool to put with these sometime. Of course, we've got the Yoda build, we've got the new R2-D2 build, we've got the Dio build, and I think that a display with all of these kind of characters, if you will, would be a really nice way to draw everything together. I will say it's been a little tough to find a spot for this in my collection, so just a fair note of warning, like, before you dive into this, you may want to think about the dimensions and shelf space and whether or not you're able to, you know, fit this into your displays in your Lego space. So if I open up the manual here, it actually might tell us about that. There's this incredible index you guys can see here. I'll give you some close-ups of this, but it's just unbelievable the amount of detail. High gloss color photos. The instructions are extremely easy to follow. They're very well done. I mean, it was just a complete joy to build this. So when you purchase the set, you get a Bricklink download file, an XML file or whatever they are. And so it's got a list of all the parts that are needed in here. And you can take that and of course upload that to Bricklink, and that allows you to get the parts. And he actually walks you through it here in the beginning of the manual. Get the manual, upload the parts list to Bricklink, search them by the bricks, build your MOC. So the MOC is 3,400 pieces and has dimensions of, let's see here, 10.7 by 8.4 inches and a height of 30 inches. So it's like 2.5 feet tall or something like that. The other thing about the way that Mirko designs things is that he's incredibly careful about using pieces that are less expensive and more popular pieces, therefore they're easier to get, which is one of the reasons it takes him an entire year to do the build. So as I was, and then the last thing I'll say, well, there's several more things, but you may notice down here, every build gets a custom printed brick that has your unique number on it that you get with your instruction manual. So no one else has this number. And I just think that's like a really nice touch. And when you're done, you can send a photo of your completed build to Mirko, and he puts it up on his website as you being part of like the squadron or whatever kind of lingo goes with that build. It's just a really nice touch and makes it a lot of fun. So yeah, so I can't say enough good things about this build. I've really enjoyed it. So I actually started this as the pieces were coming in. I got kind of antsy, and this base is built out of a bunch of large dark bluish gray plates. I believe there's some of the 16 by 16 plates in here, and you can see how thick this is. It's like a plate, 2 bricks, and then a couple more plates on top. And everything in here is connected by Technic. So I was able to get this part done. I will mention that if you look really closely, I'm missing like one shoulder piece here. You can see this, and we'll get to this in a minute, but there's just like 2 or 3 pieces that I have to go ahead and add on to this. But anyway, so the feet are, of course, like, this is a top heavy and very tall build. So these are built in with Technic. And you can see, like, even though it's wiggling up top, these feet are not going anywhere. This is, you can like lift it up from the bottom and it's totally stable. So I really enjoyed this. There's some really cool builds that happen here. Again, I've got just a couple parts here. I was missing, like, I got to the very bottom and I was missing like one wedge plate. So I got to get that in, and then I can build out the rest of this foot. But there's just some really cool techniques using the undersides of plates on these feet as well as the top. There's a very high quality sticker pack that comes with this build, which you can kind of see down here on the bottom, as well as I said, on the shoulder and a couple other locations throughout the build. He uses these stickers just to make everything really, really specific. You've got them up here on the wrist joint as well. And I love this long wedge piece here and how the tiling is used to get this, along with the rounded plates, slopes rather, around here to get this kind of like expansion to occur as we go up the leg. So the legs were a lot of fun to build, really cool, some really interesting techniques to get this like really sleek and fluid looking shape to the model. Then we get up here to the hip joints. This part got a little more finicky, but you can just see the level of detail here in the way that the hips are put on. They do bend just a little bit. You can see the model kind of sits there and then falls forward a lot like K-2SO does in the movie. And there's just all this awesome like black on black greebling in here, as well as on the kind of backpack panel here. Well, not backpack, but it's like part of K2's back circuitry, if you will. So some really cool stuff. Before I move on, I wanted to mention there's also this really nice spot for the K-2SO minifigure down here for scale purposes, which is really cool, and kind of a UCS style sticker that you can put onto one of these large road tiles, and that's on a hinged plate that sits here at the bottom of the build. So up top we have an articulating head, which is very, very cool. This is attached down below on like a ball joint up underneath there, and on the back the head actually opens a little bit. You can like take off the back of the head, which is really neat, and see inside of that there. And then the same is true on the back of the unit here. This whole thing here opens up, which is awesome. So there's just so much incredible detail. The joints on the arms move here, and then of course these fingers bend. One of the hardest parts I've had is the blaster build, which was really fun to put together. I've had a really hard time getting that to stick in the hand here. So that's maybe one downside and one negative. For now, I'm just gonna lay that there. I need to take a closer look at that and really sit down and see if I can get it to kind of sit. But that's maybe the only downside, is I've really had a hard time getting the blaster to sit in the model. So this is not a project, you know, that's for the faint of heart. You have to collect 3,400 parts from scratch. And then when you do the build, you're building out of like one bag, right? So that's one of the challenges, I think, of a build like this is I actually took an Acro Mills unit and divided all the parts up into like 1x bricks, 2x bricks, 1x tiles, 2 plates, you know, rounded bricks, rounded smaller units. I had just kind of like a small stuff drawer. I had all these like slopes here, just any way I could to like fight through the bulk aspect of it. And I found that took, you know, a couple hours, but it was totally worth it. It made the build so much more enjoyable for me to then be able to sit down and open a drawer and have a very good chance of finding what I needed. The other thing I did not do that would probably be smart is, before starting the build, to maybe inventory the parts once you've collected everything. I just went through my wanted list on Bricklink, ordered it, dumped it in with, you know, a bunch of the other parts, and then I just started building because I was excited. So, you know, if I had sat down and tried to figure out how to maybe inventory those parts, I think that could have taken a little bit of the time away from finishing the build. It's a big build, you know, this is 3,400 pieces. That's as big as, you know, a modular building or something like that. And obviously it's just this beautiful piece in your display room that I think, I can't think of anything like it. It's a completely unique build. The scale, just everything about it, I'm just like really, really happy. Hence the reason I've gotten these other sets. So drop me a comment down below if you have any questions. I would love to know, you know, what you think of this build. Are you familiar with Starbricks? Have you built any of these before? And what kinds of things would you like to see us review here on the channel? I'm enjoying making these videos for you guys as always, but of course would love to know what kind of future content you would like to see. By the way, if you're new here, I'm Andy. Thank you so much for dropping by. And I really enjoy making this content for you, so please consider subscribing. I think that's gonna do it for today. So this is the SB00401 Starbricks.net K-2SO project, or the K project as it's called. I hope you found this helpful. As always, I'm trying to add really unique items to my collection and share them with you here on the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Take care.